Oh, yo, 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 yo. Oh, yo, came up from the struggle, now we stacking chips. Black Wall Street, we rebuilding from the pits. Politics and business, we beyond rich. Donnie Glover Show, watch us shift the switch. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Spotlight on the hustle where the real was calm. Every episode, dropping knowledge, dropping bombs. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Talking black excellence, ain't no exclusivity. History is making, reclaiming our divinity. Break by break, rebuilding our community. Donnie Glover Show, celebrate unity. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Spotlight on the hustle where the real was calm. Every episode, dropping knowledge, dropping bombs. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. From the boardroom to the streets, we making waves. Business minds running, new paths paved. Politicians listen, they know we are brave. Black Wall Street dreams rising from the grave. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Spotlight on the hustle where the
we have some stars in the building.
Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Oh, yo. Oh, yo. Oh, yo.
We'd like to welcome you to BMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Special thank you to our executive producer of Be More News in Niagara, Mr. Emmanuel Price. We're up here this is the New York side, and that's the Canadian side, and we will be there for the New Year's dropping of the ball or somewhere around here. Very beautiful Niagara Falls, some of the best water in the world. So make sure you get out, get your passport, and do some traveling. And keep watching BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Welcome to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Here on the Atlantic, Mississippi, with our very dear friend Corey Mathis. A beautiful town, New Orleans. Keep watching BeMoreNews.com. We're going to give you an update. 10 years since Katrina. The news before the news, where we uncover the truth.
Wall Street, we rebuilding from the pits. Politics and business, we beyond rich.
First name's Donnie, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. Being from Baltimore, east side, west side, you probably have picked up a basketball. Whether you were good or not so good, you probably have love for the game. If you grew up in Baltimore, the same Baltimore I grew up in, you had to have watched the game. I can only tell you that I've learned so much about the history of basketball in Baltimore. The best thing I can do is show you. I can show you better than I can tell you. How was that for an introduction, Mr. Timmy Greene?
I love it. Hit it on the head.
And then we have Mr. JoJo Parker. How you doing, Mr. JoJo?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. I have an old friend come past today, and I've been trying to get him to come past it. Many years he's been trying to get me to come to one Baltimore. So we both are today. And I really want to share a lot of things with him as well as you. But he's my man. He's my man. His brother held me to 40 points once. No, that was something else. That was something else. But I'm doing fine, man. Got a few problems. Oh, you know, I gotta go teeth. But anyway, everything is good. Everything is good, man. Yeah. So happy to have come to the program, and I will be there next year, God willing.
Yeah, we love it. We're gonna make sure that you get there.
Yes.
So Timmy Greene, for people who don't know, who is JoJo Parker?
A legend, a person that has, given back to not only to Baltimore basketball, but nationwide. He's been all over, holding camps, teaching after, playing for so many years. And I would love for you to meet me over at the museum. He has a museum, Donnie. It took me 3 hours to get from the ground floor all the way up to the roof today. And it's a who's who, a what's what, and you will be amazed with the amount of people that he has touched and those who have touched him. And you got to get over there, man. You're gonna be truly amazed, bruh. And he's been like that well over 60 years, of giving back. Started, downtown with the Bullets, being around the Bullets, and then going up to Boston with Red Auerbach. And I'm just truly glad that I have been able to know and to be a friend, not only of myself, but my family. And that has meant a lot to me.
That's something. Somebody pointed out at the one Baltimore cookout that y'all gave the 3 plus everybody else, Donnie Joy,
Jimmy Conyers.
They said that these guys used to almost hate each other. So to see them out here in the spirit of oneness blew some people's minds.
Yeah, well, the hate developed from competitiveness.
Yeah,
you didn't want to lose.
Like I'm gonna kill you type hate.
No, kill far as beating you.
Yes.
To a point that it's no doubt and no question as to who are the better team. And of course, you had personal problems with people that wanted to take it upon themselves to destroy you. And they were. I keep hearing echo, Donnie.
Go ahead. I got him. I got you, JoJo.
Okay. Yeah, and it was so that again it became East-West, but then you had a lot of East-East and West-West battles. The battle of who best from the West, the battle who's best from the East. But when it all boiled down, it was still a East-West thing. South was in the equation, but not as much as, the East-West rivalry.
Okay. So, Mr. Jogo, Timmy, is your other phone connected? So, Mr. Jojo, tell me about the West Side.
The what? About which side, Donnie?
What part of town? Did you
go? My dad came up from North Carolina to get a job with Sparrows Point, and we moved to Turner Station, and I was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then all of a sudden, Donnie, they built a brand new shopping center across the tracks from our projects, and I was small enough to know right then something was going to happen. And about 2 months later, we all had to move. They tore down the military barracks, and we moved from Turner Station to Cherry Hill. So there's a rumor going around that I went to Carver because I couldn't make Dunbar's team. That's another story for another time. But anyway, that's why I gave him 40. But anyway, he came back, and so I chose to go to Carver because all the Cherry Hill guys were there, and that Southern had just started taking in black kids, I think. They had a dude named Popcorn, Rody Broggs, right, Timmy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Rody Broggs, he was bad. He was bad. So, but I decided to go to Carver because all my boys went there. And did Carver for 2 or 3 years, wanted to be a mechanic. And the East-West rivalry I was in the middle of it because they said the West Side guys were afraid of the East Side guys ball playing wise. And then after 8 months in Cherry Hill, bam, we moved to East Baltimore. But I was enrolled in Carver and caught a bus every day. So that's how I remember that East Side, West Side thing. But what I like about One Baltimore is that Timmy and the guys includes everybody. There were guys who I hadn't seen, Billy Jones and the whole, a bunch of guys. But that was my lifeline, and I never thought about college time. I never thought about college. I was going to be an auto mechanic and live happily ever after. But my senior year, I got about 25 offers. You shouldn't ask me questions that. I got about 25 offers, Syracuse. And I said, now what am I going to do with these boys? So I went to the library, had the librarian help me construct a letter asking, if I could get a scholarship. And so I got a letter from Montana State, and I know they thought I wasn't black. They sent me a letter saying they would love to have me. I would give $15 a month laundry money, 1957, and a bunch of other things they promised me. They asked me to furnish them some game films. And I never seen myself on television, not a game. So when they sent that, I sent them about 4 clippings, a couple great games. 2 weeks later, I got the clippings back. No explanation, no nothing. They just sent the clippings back. So whatever that meant. But getting back to the East-West, I admire what Timmy and the guys are doing. And I'm sort of fit in the middle. And I was really surprised how I was greeted at the One Baltimore thing. I know a lot of Dunbar kids and a lot of other kids. But anyway, I don't know if it answered the question, but that's a brief synopsis of how I got caught up in this thing.
Who did you look up to growing up?
Looked up to a guy named Charlie Breitford. His son Chet, Timmy, went to Lafayette.
Yeah, I know
Charlie.
Chet.
I know Chet. Yeah, Charlie was about 3 years older than me. And it was Charlie Breitford. And this one guy, in the last 20 years, the only guy I heard say something negative about me. And we're not going to get into that. But I realized I was 15 and he was in college. And I used to tear him up down the cage. He would elbow me, man, push me. And I would act like I was mad, but I couldn't fight. Didn't want to fight.
Name.
Libo, they call him. McQuaid. He's inducted into the Hall of Fame in Detroit. And somebody asked him, how did you happen if you had a great team, they invite the whole team? You understand? And put him in the Hall of Fame. Phil Chenier called me. Phil Chenier was out there. Asked me, did I know him? I said, yeah, I sort of know him. And then another old timer was up there and asked him if he asked the old timer asked Libo, did he know me? And Libo said, yeah. The time I said, well, he came to Virginia State after I left. I was on my way to freshman of the year. I played 5 games, went home for Christmas. Sorry, nada. I didn't go back. But anyway, that's the only thing I got, And Timmy said, and I started to frown for him today, but I was so happy to see him. I didn't even frown. Timmy said he never seen me frown.
I ain't
Tim,
never seen you frown.
I got some pictures to send you. 2 of my boys came up from Virginia, and we went over to the Unsell school. And I wish I was still in shape to go over there every day. But his wife had all the kids come down. There was a guy that out of Sterling, Virginia, one of my boys. He drove up, and we took him in the gym for a little while. But I normally do that about once a week, pre-COVID. I did that. But she has a great school. That's another story. She has a great school. And I forgot the question, Donnie.
Tell me about Dr. Warren Hayden.
I met Warren Heyman through my Dunbar connection. I hope he sees this, I raised Bob Wade. I raised him. And there was a guy, Timmy, named Joker. He was older than me. Joker used to take us around. You know him?
I know him.
You know Joker.
I know him.
Joker used to take us around to different basketball courts. I was 15 or 16, and so I started doing that. And once I left Virginia State, got me a car, started working for 75 cents an hour. But anyway, so I would take Bob Wade around, and we went to Towson one time, and we, just a basketball court, and we went to Towson, and Joker let us out the car, and we went. I didn't know anybody. A guy named Jimmy Hall. I got a picture of Jimmy Hall. I've had it since he was in high school. And the guy shooting the hook shot from the corner was Billy Jones. And I maintained a friendship with them, all these years. So that's why I would take kids around until, Muggsy, the list goes on. I'm going to tell this story to Donnie. A guy named Dan Brothers sold $100 alligator shoes, and I would take busting them down there, Gus. West was like, and so eventually I started taking Muggs and Reggie Williams, Herman Reed, and he would let them work for 2 hours Saturday morning, give them $50, and I would bring them back home. So although I dealt with Dunbar a lot, but I knew the kids from Walbrook, Gus Harrington, all those kids. So Timmy, that's why I wanted my lady with me, man. You can't let me run on.
Donnie want to hear the history.
Huh?
Donnie wants to hear the history.
Then Donnie, then we used to go out Dan Brothers' house, and this guy who wrote a terrific article about Bob Wade in Maryland, he wrote for the Baltimore Business Journal, and we used to go out to his house. He would have cookouts, and he told me when we were coming out there, all the kids would say, "The Glow Child's coming out there." The Glow Child's coming out, and they would feed us. If you see Reggie, Muggsy would go about 3 or 4 guys, But that was my strong point. My strong point really, Donnie, was the 22 years I spent as a substitute teacher. The 22 years I spent. So all those kids are now grown and live in this area. That's why I got to keep my blinds closed, which means I'm not home or I'm busy or and they respect that. They didn't at first. They respect that, and but those kids, I see them not every day, but I see them a lot, and they have my background.
Could you imagine living in a neighborhood with no children?
Who? I don't have any children.
No, I'm saying, could you imagine?
Oh no, I couldn't imagine that. Two guys had a program across the street. It was a mentoring program in Booker Lee's old building. And they came and asked me if I would come over. And I told them I would love to, but I had 2 old raggedy cars and 32 windows on my house. And if a kid gets upset with you, back in the old days, by me being 6'2", I would walk up to him, oh, that's Mr. JoJo, man. That's Mr. JoJo. And here's a part, we may have to bleep this out. When I was at Southern, if there was a fight in the cafeteria, 2 kids, I would pick the smallest one and pick them up over my head, you know what I mean? And break it up. And the kids would say, boy, Mr. Parker bad. Mr. Parker picked them up. Boy. Go ahead, Johnny. Meanwhile, I regress, man. I regress.
These are wonderful memories.
Yeah, they were good. They were good. And I was showing Timmy today, there always one kid I met when he was 11 years old at South Carolina's camp. And he graduated from high school, made all state, and went to William and Mary. You have to be able to read and write to get in there. He went there, and but before he got there, when he graduated high school, his mother asked him, what did he want as a gift? He said, I want to go to Baltimore to see Coach JoJo. They came, stopped in D.C. Then the next day, she brought him over here. I called Sam up. Sam came up, you know, to entertain him, and who else? A couple. I think Dietrich, the guy who just passed away at Mervo, maybe a year ago. Yeah. So they were, you know, they came running right away, man. One story about Muggsy, he's gonna retire. I had a convertible, and we used to put Muggsy in that middle seat in the back. He didn't like that. We called it the Punky-Doo seat. Muggs didn't like that, boy. We put Muggs right in the middle. But he calls me on my birthday. Well, Renard calls me, and then Renard puts on Muggs and puts on, you know, a whole bunch of people.
When's
but
your
anyway,
birthday? When's your birthday?
October 6th.
You got a birthday coming up.
I know. I hate to. Have you met Dante Bright, Donnie?
Doing that out your jaw.
You met Dante Bright?
I don't think so.
He played at UMass. Timmy, you know him.
Yeah.
And he had a camp down at St. Francis. And this thing now about getting my flowers got me kind of scared, because I'll take my flowers when I get 100. But anyway, Dante said he would send an Uber for me, and Helen was in town. Helen was here. And we went down there, and he put on his Facebook page, and about 150 names, kids. One guy said, oh, I know JoJo. He lived up there by the school on Federal Street. I didn't know who he was, but I survived, you know. And they look out for me, boy. They look out
right across the street from Oliver.
Yeah, directly across the street from Oliver. Yep. And,
why haven't they done a movie on you yet, Mr. JoJo?
I beg your pardon?
Where's your movie?
Where's my what?
Your movie.
What movie?
No.
The one I told you about, Timmy.
No. What he's referring to is when are they gonna do a movie on you?
Man, it took me so it was so hard to get with Timmy and you, Donnie. And then when Donnie called that night and said, "Man, I can't find anything on you." Well, you got the best West Sunset story. He wanted to start a camp, 30 kids at his wife's school. And so I ran into him after about 3 years. I ran into him and I went there and he had just got on crutches then. So he was trying to, giving them pro things. I said, "Wes, may I help us for a second?" He said, "Yeah." So I went out there, showed him some games, skills and stuff. And 15 minutes later, he got up and left out the gym. I said, "Yo, where you going, man? You leave me." So anyway, he went out. The next day, he came in the gym and I said, "Kids, who you think was a better ball player? Mr. West or Coach JoJo?" "Oh, you, Coach JoJo, you, Coach." So West said, "I should hit you there with this crutch." So the next day I told the kids, I said, "Mr. West was one of the top 50 ball players of all time." I said, "Coach JoJo, I said, Coach JoJo didn't do too well as far as, but he was a saint, man. He was a saint, Loved the kids loved him.
What's that got to do with movie about your life? Movie about your life. Where's the movie on your life? On your life.
I never shared. A niece that I had never met before called me up and said, "Uncle JoJo, I work at Morgan and I telling everybody that my uncle played basketball, but they couldn't find anything. Like you died, they couldn't find anything." So she came by one day about 2 months later, had a picture of me. I went out for the Connie Hawkins team, the Pittsburgh. What was it, Timmy? The Pittsburgh NABA.
What, the Pipers?
The Pipers, yes. The Pipers paid my airfare, flew me up there, man. And there's a section in the, if you Google Joe Parker, Pittsburgh Pipers, a picture. They didn't get a picture of me. They didn't get a picture. I got there, flew in there. We worked out that next morning. And then I called my mother and she said, "A man named Marcus Haynes been calling here." I said, "Marcus Haynes?" I said, "What do he want?" She said, "Well," he said, "whatever they offer you, he'll give you $1,500 more." Now at the time, the minimum was $7,000. Danny Mann's dad made $7,000 with the Bullets. So shit, I went and caught a plane, came back home, and went and met Marcus on the West Coast. And but there's a picture. I think it's on the Pittsburgh Pipers. I don't know how she found it. But the movie, I don't know.
All right, well, let's get some basic. Where'd you graduate? Did you graduate college?
I graduate I have no 2-sentence answers. I graduated from high school, told with no aspiration of going to college, wrote a letter to Virginia State. The guy drove up. He had an accident too. Not then, he's dead. Coach drove up and we went to the basketball court. 10 o'clock Sunday morning. I got about 4 guys. I think I got Charlie Moore. And we played 3-on-3, and it was so hot, man. And the coach just sit in the car and watch with his AC on. And after about 45 minutes, I told the guys, because they were passing up easy shots, trying to make me look good, 1 goal. So I told him, I said, "Man, this is it." So I went over to the car and thanked him for inviting, for coming up. Man, that next week, I had a scholarship. Said my parents would be responsible for $130. And if they had problems with that, they'll get it done. So I stayed at Virginia State for played about 5 games. That's when I met Cleo Hill. You too young for that, Timmy.
I
Cleo
heard
Hill
about
went to
Mr. Howard told me about it.
yeah, he was bad. He was before the Earl of Pearl. But
Yeah.
then I came out, started working at a Bugle Laundry, 100 degrees inside. And a guy called me, said he was talking to the coach at Virginia Union. And Coach Virginia Union said, "Where's that freshman Virginia State had?" And the guy said, "Well, he left home. He left school." And so the guy from Union asked this guy for my information. And this guy was from North Carolina College. He told him, said, "No," said, "we're going to get him." And I went there, didn't realize until maybe my junior year that I could graduate one day, you know? So I finished up with about 12 credits shy, and the coach approached me and said, "Joe, whatever you do, come to summer school or come back in September." I said, "Coach Brown, I never had any money. Let me play 1 year." I was making $1,100 a month and saving $1,100 because they took care of the hotel. You know, I'm a light eater. And $1,100 a month, I was saving. Huh?
Who paid?
The Harlem astronauts, that's who I settled with. Because a guy named Pete DJ Jones, he finally got some recognition about a year ago. He's one of the first guys to go out in the park in New York and use 2 turntables. And he was my boy. Pete DJ Jones. He passed away. Everybody passed away. But he was my boy. And
damn, he in the middle of the hip-hop revolution, Timmy.
What you say?
I was saying, Timmy, he came up through the middle of the hip-hop revolution. He dropping New York names. He was saying, "Cool, work and run these."
Well, that's why I say, Donnie, he's all over. You know, he wasn't local, he was all over.
And I was down there for the Christmas holidays years ago. And what's the guy that sing? They're playing basketball.
Curtis
Blow. I met Curtis Blow.
I played that song today.
Yeah, that was my song. Beg your pardon?
You blaming all this on Cleo?
No, Cleo. I came home and told everybody that there's a guy from Winston-Salem. They'll be up to play Morgan in January. I said, "You guys got to go see him." And Donnie, he's still at half court. Morgan's gym was dark. Then they had a new place. Still at half court and with a ball, and it had 5 seconds left of the game. 5, 4, 3. And when they hit 2, Morgan fans started pouring out the gym, out the bleachers. He shot a set shot. And by the time it hit all nets, he was sitting on the side, putting his jacket on. His son is a head coach at Maryland Eastern Shore now. I never met him, but they say that my man Greg Wangas, the one that brought me out to here, he's Greg's boy. You got to hold me now. You got to.
I got you.
Okay.
How did you go from Virginia Union?
Virginia State. From Virginia State. I went from Virginia State, hung out for 2 years, working at a laundry, went back to North Carolina College, ineligible because I was a transfer. Had to take all the core courses, did that, and did 3 years at North Carolina College. First year I was ineligible. Then I came out in the 4th year, promised the coach I would come back. I would take the summer off or take some time off. But that's how I got to North Carolina Central University. And the rest is history.
Man, you said North Carolina College.
Yes. It's North Carolina Central. It's North Carolina Central University now.
But it's the same school.
It's the same school. Yes, I was there. Were you in Baltimore? They had a restaurant downtown called Samson's Soul Food.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Okay. One of my teammates married a Baltimore girl. He caught her before we all saw her. She came in as a freshman, and they got married. And eventually, they brought Gus and I used to go down there all the time. His wife and him brought out their father, but he made a terrible move. He wanted to upscale it, upgrade it. He took it all the way up to Northern Parkway in Ricerstown, won a supper club, and it died. It died. He died too.
When you miss the business, or when you change the phone number, you starting from scratch. When you move, or change your phone number, you starting from scratch.
Oh, when I got big time, I moved on St. Paul Street in John Hopkins area, and had a garage to park my Fleetwood in, had another space to put my antique. So I was living large, $125 a month rent. And
how did you get that money a month?
Oh, I was the coach, the player coach. I was the player coach. Plus, I meant to show it to Timmy. We had souvenir programs, and they were 25 cents a piece. So at night, I would autograph about 50 of them to blank from JoJo. Now, I was Joe Parker then because we had a JoJo from Shaw University. It was bad. And I would autograph to blank from Joe Parker. And then after I went out there that first half and did my stuff, I was a clown prince. You know. And so that money I used, you know, I had a car, but you didn't need it on the road just about every night. And that's how I got 1,100. That was a lot of money. So if we played 5 months, 5.5 months, I would put that whole thing in, wasn't a Wells Fargo then. It was something else. But that went on for about 4 years, 5. And then Marcus Haynes came to town. And they played an exhibition game at CCB. And Gus Johnson, oh, Marcus, man, I got a guy play that trick ball, you know. And, you know, so I talked to Marcus. Gus introduced it to me. That fall, I was on the plane, but I told him my problem was teams like the Astronauts, they weren't on TV. Marcus Haynes and Magicians were on every year on something called a Craft Music Hour. You guys too young to remember that. Craft Music Hour. And he said what he would do, he would fly me from the West Coast team, which he did. He flew me to when they played in the Garden, Boston Garden. And it's really true that floor was 2x4s standing up. And the Celtics knew where the weak spots were. So if they guarding you down it, they can make you go to that weak spot when the ball hit. I got Sam Jones was my man. Sam Jones, that was my man, boy. But anyway,
how many other teams like the Was it like 12 of them?
About 8 or 9. And I meant to show Timmy today. There was a guy out of DC called Bob Bowie. B-U-I-E. He had one arm. They said, so he wrote me, want me to come out there and try out. But he wanted me to pay my own airfare and they would reimburse me. I said, no. So then it was the Harlem Wizards. It was a bunch of them. We did mostly I did the West Coast with the Magicians. Marcus did the East Coast. And I never, ever forget this. One night we played a double hitter. The Knicks played the Buffalo Braves, and Mike Davis was my man, is my man. So anyway, we were playing, and I was with the Magicians, but when you whip them, you know, you got to follow the show. You got to do exactly. You don't, Marcus will find you, man. So anyway, one of the players on the other team got hurt. So halftime, Marcus said, who want to switch to the other team? So, the other team, you can shoot and, do your thing. So I did that. After the game, I saw Earl. Earl said, what kind of ball is this? So how can a man change teams and have you get traded? I said, man, go ahead, Jack. Yeah. But it was fun.
Timmy, you gotta step in here. He played for the Magicians. And then we got Smith. Is that are they the only two in Baltimore?
No, I got it's a bunch of them. It was a bunch of them. It was a bunch of them. I had a chance to go with the Kentucky Colonels. They moved from Kentucky to Baltimore. That was Skip Wise's team. But that was right or wrong. Well, y'all too young, man. I need somebody on there old. The Kentucky Colonel from the ABA, they fold. They
became the Baltimore Claws.
I apologize, Timmy. I apologize. They became the Baltimore Claws. And so Skip was with them. But see, if Skip would have known me, and I'm not bragging, I would have told Skip that I learned over the years from other guys. If you sign with a new venture like that, you don't sign with the Baltimore Claws. If the owner of the team is a multimillionaire, you sign a personal service.
He's gone, Donnie.
Wow.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Timmy, what did we just hear? Break that down.
Basically,
you weren't ready for that one.
Nah. He's just going from where he started out, high school, college. He played at couple college. I'm not sure if he ever graduated.
I didn't hear him say graduate. He would have said that. But this is what we clear on. There were options that young people today know nothing about, or options that don't exist today. Where today you got the NIL, name, image, likeness laws, where they can get paid. Back then, a young man as himself had the option of playing for one of these, what do you call that league?
That would have been like semi-pro, really. Because
semi-pro.
Because when I come along, some years after, something like that, you would have been in violation of the NCAA bylaws and rules. You couldn't have played. Huh?
There were different rules.
No, I mean, the rules still the same. They may have, modified a few things, but you couldn't play college ball. You couldn't have played even rec ball, because I know during the summertime, by me going to a junior college, I could play. But those who was going to a 4-year school, back then you couldn't play. You'd been ineligible because the rules were stating you played college ball until your eligibility was up. Now I don't even know how it goes, because a lot of things have changed. And for what he was doing, that was kind of unheard of. But you got to remember too, Donnie, he was under the NIA, not the NCAA. And some rules may have been the same for both, divisions, but NIA, it might have been a little different. Like NIA, CIAA, they all, they all the same, but NCAA, if you don't abide by them rules, you're going to be ineligible.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
Timmy,
care.
I'm looking at a different angle on this. Back in the day, we all know about the Negro Leagues for baseball.
Yes.
What I'm getting to is that these Harlem Wizards, now I heard of the Harlem Renaissance before, the Harlem Wrens. I've learned today that you had the Harlem Wizards. He mentioned he played for the Magicians. He mentioned the Buffalo Braves. This is what I'm getting to. This is Black Wall Street, man. Where, and I'm just presuming we got to get him back on to get more information. But during the Negro Leagues, we created our own opportunities, and we did it so well that mainstream America started buying our players, started copying our style. Sunday out at the ballpark was a festive occasion. You're eating, you're seeing people. It's a social affair. You're cheering on the favorite team. It was Black culture, and it was about money, because I know with the Negro Leagues, you had to have some kind of money to be an owner, like Rube Foster. And a similar thing was obviously going on with basketball. So that's what I picked up on, how there were opportunities beyond mainstream, how we seem to be a little smarter back then. I mean, we got 3 leagues now, you know.
I mean, some of the things that was mentioned, I was unaware of, you know, because I knew.
Somebody was counting the money.
Huh?
Somebody was counting the money.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that they were all Black run. You know what I mean?
I imagine. I understand. It's
Yeah,
money. Once money
yeah.
involved, it's like dope, just like any other business. It's money.
And even if it was, like you said, it was going to be taken. It was
If,
going
if
to be taken.
if you didn't control the game, yeah.
It was going to be taken. And again, the Buffalo Braves, far as I can remember, that was an NBA franchise. Now, you know, he know more than what I would on that part, but I know they were an NBA that went to San Diego,
Yeah.
become the San Diego Clippers.
I haven't done
Okay.
the research, but I'm willing to bet that Black people were getting some of that business, because it started in the Black community.
Yeah, but again, Donnie, I don't think that it was all run by Blacks.
Well, I'm not saying all, but we weren't just sitting on the sideline getting pimped. You know what comes to mind? The numbers. What also comes to mind is the Chitlin circuit.
Mm-hmm.
Our musicians could only perform in certain towns. And I imagine the same was so with baseball, with basketball, and any other thing that was heavily revered in the Black community.
Because now I never heard of none of those teams actually coming here, you know, that was mentioned. And of course the Globetrotters was, you know, they was national. But as far as the other, like, you know, the Wrens and the Renaissance, I never, as far as I can go back of being old enough to remember, you know, that particular circuit was coming to every city, not like the Globetrotters. I might be wrong, but I know for a fact I never heard anyone saying about those different teams coming to Baltimore.
Well, we gotta revisit this. And you did a great job. How was it teaching an 85-year-old brother technology?
I mean, he was good. I mean, only thing that, you know, he was being nervous about, and I wrote it down for him, but I showed him firsthand, then I wrote it down. You only did 3 things. You know, I sent you the link. So you hit my text message with the link. All you do is touch after you open up the link, Well, the text message to the link, you touch the HTTPS. Once you touch that, things will come on. And then when I strolled down to show him where it said enter studio, that was your third and final thing. Now, what I had problems with earlier was the volume. So I had to go into his settings. You know, the picture was good, just there was no volume. And then finally I got the volume to work. So I called him, I told him I would call him 10 of, but his friend had called and I called her because his landline was busy and I wanted him to use his landline so he could use the phone, which he did. When I finally got a number to work, it was calling his friend who you saw up at Cloverdale. So I said, oh my Lord, Miss Helen, I apologize. You know, I thought and forgot that that was a number to her that he had gave me.
Well,
So
this is a broader question. What I'm asking is, did you ever imagine yourself teaching an 85-year-old 21st century technology, Mr. Champion Dunbar Poet? You did a lot of things.
It was nothing to it. It was nothing to it.
Pass.
I mean, it was a little hard at first, but then, you know, once he grasped it, you know, and I was still trying to get over. And like I say, man, I gotta meet you over there, man.
So having spent 3 hours with a legend today, tell me something you learned that you didn't know before today.
Really, Donnie, wasn't too much. Just some people that I didn't know that, you know, that he knew or was, not familiar because he's been around that long. But, you know, all of the different clocks he had, you know, just clocks. I mean, you got to see all of this, man. And it's not, you know, by me talking with him for so long, he might tell me something that I never heard. But the most of the stuff, and I know his familiar with all of the athletes, you know, not just here with the high schools and the colleges. Here, you talking about pros. You know, the astronaut sent him that picture that he autographed. And
JoJo Parker is world renowned.
Yeah. I mean, he's known, man.
And you helped him to come full circle.
Full circle.
I heard Ralph said during our interview, he's done a lot of things elsewhere.
Yeah.
But ain't nothing like doing something at home.
Yeah, and in Boston, he was so busy doing the Boston camp with Red Auerbach that I got to set this up. He's never met Skip Wise. And when he first told me that a few years ago, I said, come on, man. He said, I was doing the camps. So again, that's a way. You know, that's a way. And he was busy doing the camps that he didn't even see really us play. Matter of fact, I don't even think he saw the DeMatha Dunbar game, if I'm not mistaken.
So, Timmy, you are, in fact, the steward of Baltimore basketball. You have been bringing East together with West, North with South, Dunbar with Lake, with Walbrook, with Cloverdale, with the Dome. I'd have to say you are Baltimore's ambassador.
Well, you gonna say that. You know I'm not gonna say that. It's just being, you know, all of the numbers that I have, reaching out to a lot of people. Because at first, when we started the One Baltimore thing, Donnie, I was calling people. I was calling all the numbers that I knew that would want to be a part of what we were doing and where we at today. I was calling these people one by one, man. And those so-called letting you know what we doing, what time we doing, and where it is, it became almost an hour. So it became overwhelming because I got to go to the next person, to the next person. But you can't go there because people first want to know how you doing. You know, things all right with you. I heard about this. And then before you know it, that's a half an hour. And
It's called sweat equity.
yeah, but here's the last part of that. I was given one time, and I can't remember who did it, notified me to say John Jones passed away. Well, Donnie, I was a person that sent out when people passed away to all of the people that I knew, along with if they were a One Baltimore member, you know, our family member or our One Baltimore family member, whatever, passed away. And I was doing that for their loved ones. Now, I wasn't getting paid for that, man. And it became so overwhelming that it was like, only time you call is when you give us bad news. Well, Donnie, if you text me or call me and said John Jones passed away, why keep that information for me when I know, you know, Mr. Parker know this person, or you know, Mr. Joy know this person, or whomever.
That's
So I got
so as a son of an undertaker, I had a friend from the old neighborhood.
uh-huh.
And I had to tell him, don't be calling me with no damn death notices.
Yeah. Well, see, that was different for me. And I guess got
every time I'd hear from him, guess who died? No, we're not doing that.
yeah. Well, again, that was put in on my plate up
Put it
until this will be 3 years coming up that I took it off the plate.
Let
I
the
said
dead bury the dead. I love you and I see you on the other side, but we gonna live this life.
Yeah.
And it's because you can't please everybody.
Not at all.
Bill
You know,
Cosby said the key, he said, I don't know the key to success, but the key to failure is trying to please everybody.
yeah. Well,
we call it people pleasing.
Well, once again, you know, I'm not going to say, you know, that it was a burden. You know, it was only a burden when I made it a burden. But people was glad that it was done because it allowed those who wouldn't have known, like myself, I wouldn't have known. And the only reason why I knew because they knew that I was sending that information out. Other than that,
but there's also a positive side to this, and the positive side is how One Baltimore is celebrating 20 years this year, right now.
Yeah, it was 20 years this year. 20 years. And
thank you for
you know,
caring, brother, and thank you for allowing me to be a witness.
Oh, well, we just starting. You know, we just starting.
I'm a big fan of Gert Scott, man. Huge fan.
Yeah, G. Scott. Yeah.
I'm a huge fan.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's my girl,
like
man.
She like that auntie who like no nonsense. Come there straight, boom, 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 boom.
And Donnie could play.
No
she could
question.
Play. Did you ever see her?
I never saw her play, but I can tell you this: small world. Tori was my dad and her auntie were real close.
Okay.
And Lawrence, that was her brother. But I knew them as family, didn't really know her with basketball.
Yeah.
And
right.
I remember she was at Coppin. I think she was coaching at Coppin when I was attending there. But it's interesting. And what I'm getting to is I knew them and their dad, String, but his family knew nothing about their basketball. And they come to find out the same person that, you know, I see for, you know, family dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, what have you, is, you know, a superstar. But at your family dinner, nobody cares.
Yeah. And
It's
the
past the
dad,
gravy.
right. And the dad, he refereed a lot of, my games,
Strength,
you know.
Mr.
Yeah.
Strength. I had no idea.
Yeah. And see, Larry was younger than me, so I never played against him. But you know, it's history. But I used to see Gurdon and Toy with their Towson Catholic team against Walbrook. They were classics. You know,
The
I would
Thompson
go
Gap
to
is where Carmelo played, right?
yeah, I would go to watch their games. I think it was at Towson. The games that I watched was at Towson at the college
I
because
tell
that's
you,
how big it was.
I tell you what's also fascinating, Timmy, is the story about City County. That's one. The cats like Doug Burnett, he watches the show and he's like, don't forget, the Dunbar cats would come out here to Woodlawn and we give them a run for the money, and it's like blah, blah, blah. And look, I'm not all that keen on Woodlawn cats. This one cat, God rest his soul, Joe Mans. He played
Mhm.
football for Woodlawn, and he would always tell me this story. He knew I was a proud poet. Yeah, boy, you
Mhm.
don't remember the time Woodlawn beat Dunbar football. And it was like, oh my God, here come the violence. Can't get one win out of 60 games, but
But well, look, that's the same thing when Patterson had that little 1 or 2 year. They don't them guys don't understand. 1 or 2 years don't make you a dynasty. Don't make you a hell of a school that was knocking teams off year after year of what we have accomplished through MSA and state. None of those schools, City, Poly, Douglas, Carver, you name it, and the county schools don't even exist. You don't even measure up to all of the championships
so
from MSA to state that
so that's
Dunbar has had.
That's one dichotomy, the city, the county. The other dichotomy is public, private, or public, private schools, Catholic schools. And of course, that big game where uh, Dunbar, Mount St. Joe, blah, blah, blah. Melvin Hayes played a role in that, they tell me, and how that changed things.
Who is Melvin Hayes?
Elvin Hayes.
Oh,
Wasn't
Melvin
Elvin
Hayes
Hayes?
wasn't. No,
Who
he
was
wasn't.
who was
Earl
the
Monroe.
Earl Monroe? He was at the game and he
Yeah,
tried to break it
yeah,
up, and he ended up over city jail. Is that the story?
yeah. I'm not sure as to why, but yes, he got arrested. He sure
Probably
did.
trying to break up the fight.
Yeah, he sure did.
So see,
And
that right there is Baltimore history that blows my mind, man. I never
mhm.
heard these stories before this year.
Yeah, well, again, that was the start of the Catholic school getting their own league. And excuse me, the next 2 years of my high school, only Loyola will play us. The rest of them, of course, Mount St. Joe, definitely, that was a no-no. But they played other city schools.
So on that note, you met a Mount St. Joe Gale recently. What'd you think of John Davis, Coach John?
Well, that one time, he was a character. You know, I see that you and him have a good rapport, and that's good because, look at where we are today, man. We're still divided. And for him to be, downtown, and you say he's up on the avenue, right? That's showing a little bit of courage right there alone.
Because
You know, we
you got black people won't come to these places.
right, right. And he ain't seemed like he was nervous. It seemed like he was one of us, which is good because again, certain places I don't even go today, Donnie. 30 years ago, I didn't care.
30 years ago, you could tell your child to go to school or catch the bus. It ain't like that today.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to be comfortable letting my grandson catch the bus home. And that's only because the bus is out in front of Dunbar. I was picking him and taking him. Because like I told him, it's not like it was. It'll never get like that again. And I'd rather to have you safe where I can see and feel as opposed to I'm getting a phone call, or you coming home half naked because, they didn't took your valuables. And he still have to catch a bus from Greenmount up here, but he was doing that his last year and a half when he was going to middle school at Waverly. But still, I'm going to still be, I ain't going to say old school. I'm just going to be protective of my child because I want him to bury me and not me bury him. And with these idiots today, it's just, you got to have your head on a swivel, and I tell them all the time, if I had to do it, damn it, you got to do it too, man, because you can be on that phone not paying attention, and that's a no-no. Two, you on the bus.
Headphones. I don't get people walking through the city with headphones on. I need to hear these melanated people's footsteps.
And wait a minute.
How do you drive? How do you walk with
Well,
headphones?
how do you walk with your fingers like this? You looking at a phone when they sneaking right up behind you.
Put the phone down.
And that's what I tell them. You got plenty of time to pick that phone up. But while you out in the world, you better have your head on that swivel, or else it can cost you. And I know people say, "Oh man, you got to give him a little space." Hey man, he got a lot of space, but I want to make that space comfortable for me as well, where I understand now I don't have that tracking like my wife have on him, right? Well, I can track him, but sorry, if something happens, that tracking ain't gonna do us no good. But if inside that car, see, we ain't got to go through all of that.
That's why I'm reminded, Timmy, that we got a special weapon.
I'm listening.
A special weapon that everybody that's a child of the king knows about. And you don't even need a phone that's working.
Mm-hmm.
You can just call on the good Lord. And he got Allstate, he got State Farm. He got all the insurance you need. Because you remind me of people in my family who cared. But I'm reminded of Grandma. Grandma said, I'm going to pray for all of y'all. I said, you going to pray for all us, Grandma? By name? I was fascinated as a kid. How you remember all them names? I can't remember all. She said, yeah. She said, you can pray anywhere. I don't know how we got on this, but I just want to tell you, bless the Lord, and may the good Lord protect you, your family, your household, your health, your wealth, your finances. Bless everybody listening to this show, because that's who got all the answers. That's who got all the protection.
And see, at first I was going to call you to not do this because I got a word earlier today. He talks about my older brother, and got word that they had to put him in the hospice, which came out of nowhere. And I didn't want to tell him to deter him from not coming on this evening because I didn't know how he would take it. And I told him I had something to talk with him about. And but I said, let me go ahead and do it because we don't know what his status is going to be.
Hell, he might outlive us. We don't know our status.
You're right. You're right. But he's going through some health issues himself. He was just telling me.
That man, 85 years old, looked great. Dr. Warren Heyman, 93 years old, running the Labor Day cookout. You didn't tell me all that. That man, East Side, West Side certified. I ain't never seen nothing like that in my life. Maybe
Well,
Willie Adams.
well, see, remember what I said? He's one of a kind.
No
You know, he's
question.
one of a kind.
Dr.
And
Warren, put some respect on it.
yeah, yeah.
Please don't get his granddaughter started. Oh my God, she's a little bully.
She looked like she could play a little bit. I saw her out there working out.
She seemed to be his bodyguard. She wanted to make sure I got the public relations information, the who, what, when, where, and why correct. And I know her mama, so it's like, oh Lord, don't get them started.
Yeah, yeah.
Great show, Timmy.
But again, man, appreciate you, and you know, whatever I can be of service of getting whom and when, just let me know ahead of time so I can get these guys, because a lot of guys' numbers I don't have, but the rest of them I do have. And
Derek
only
Jones
like
said he wants Skip Wise on here. That's what Derek Jones said. I said, well,
yeah.
you tell Timmy. I'm like, yeah, that's who you want. You tell him.
Yeah, well, I tell you, Donnie, it took me a minute to get him on Coach Butch McAdams' show.
Oh, that's what I told Derek Jones. I'm like, that man ain't Skip Wise's handler. He's his own handler. That's why I never asked you. And he's like, you should ask him. And I swore him down. And we went back and forth for 15 minutes. I said, I'm not asking him that. So I just drive.
Yeah. Well, what I'm gonna do, I have to talk with him anyway, because one of our teachers from down Dunbar, like I said, Mr. Strebe, he sent me a letter to either hand, given to him, or he has a stamp on it. So I need his address anyway. Now I got to set up a meeting with him and JoJo. He's never met him, and vice versa.
Well,
and then now,
whoever you want, keep bringing who you have been bringing, because I know that you are divinely led, and you're going to bring who we need to talk to. I mean, like you reminded me to be over there. I wouldn't have learned what I learned about Dr. Warren Heyman. And that man grew up with my daddy. I had no idea. I had no idea. That man is well vested. He should be the mayor. The unofficial mayor of Baltimore, Dr. Warren Heyman. Yeah.
Well, like I said, I'll work on those three, and I'll let you know. Again, let me know when you want to meet me over at his house, because
and I'll be there.
Well, I'll set it up with him, because that was the first time I actually was able to get in, and you're gonna be amazed. Yeah,
Mr. JoJo, you still there?
Yeah.
Now he dry snitching on you. Now he said you ain't want to let him in. What's going on?
He's no man. First he said he didn't see but one picture of him up there. He called his boys. They saw one picture of him. I got a picture of him on the front page of the sports section.
Oh,
and I apologize too, didn't I?
Yes,
I apologize.
Yes, you did. Don, I ain't mean to get carried away, man, but you got to. That's why I need my wife with me, man, because she'll kick me and stuff. I get all geeked up, man. I wanted to go well for you and Timmy, and for myself, but I get all pumped up. And when she's with me, she can,
Timmy, he did a great job, didn't he, Timmy?
Of course. Now, here's the next question. When can Donnie come over to see the Wall of Fame?
Hey. You ain't tell me about the 400 clocks. You ain't tell me about the clocks, did you?
Yes, I did. I told him about from clocks all the way up to the photos. Well, I ain't telling him about the trophies, the tie clips, and things like that, and the little cards. But he can see all of that once he got there.
Okay.
Well, Mr. JoJo, I did have a question, Mr. JoJo. What was the league called that you played for?
In high school?
No, the Renaissance, the Wrens, and all of them.
It wasn't. Sugar Cane them played with the Wrens. I'm not that old. Sugar Cane, a couple of the officials, they played with the Wrens. I got a picture of them. It's so much you didn't say. I got a picture of the Sugar Cane, the light-skinned referee that ref your games and my games, but it wasn't called a league. The league we played in was the Maryland Scholastic Association with the all the white schools. The
No,
black
not them.
schools.
Not them. You know, with the Harlem, you played with the Harlem what? Wizards, right?
The Harlem Astronauts. Google
Astronauts.
that, and you'll see a cover. You'll see a souvenir program, and that's me on the cover.
And he was saying, what
The
was the
Harlem.
name of the league for that?
It wasn't a league of just bomb storming. You know
Oh,
what I
okay.
mean? Bombs.
Yeah.
Marcus Haynes was Magic. You know, his name was Magic. And what happened one night, we were out in Iowa, and we got to a game about 20 minutes to 8, and the boat, the ferry stopped running. So we had to drive a half hour around. We got there, played against a guy named Johnny Rogers, who's the Heisman Trophy winner from Nebraska. And after the game, we changed up. I came up to get my $4,500 for the game, and they had 4 lawyers in the office. I said, I'm sorry, sir. You know, so you advertised Marcus Haynes, and you know we can't pay you. I called Marcus. Marcus said, don't worry about it. You know, he couldn't be 2 places at one time, but it was just bomb storming. Just, you know, they would book the games and the whole bit.
Right.
But then Google the Harlem Astronauts. It's a
Man, I found
yellow
your picture. I found the picture.
Which one? From
But
Pittsburgh?
it's no, from the Harlem Astronauts.
Okay. When I came home, I had 10 programs. Some of them selling for $150 a piece. I gave Ben Baylor. No, I didn't. Ben ordered one offline. Now they about $5 a piece. You know. But
You said Ben Baylor?
yeah, Ben has one, and I asked Ben to let me come down and take a picture with him, re-signing it. And they put $40 or $50 online. Just re-sign it. You know, JoJo Parker. Then you'll just re-sign it and hand it on the program. But he's my guy, man. He's my guy. So Donnie, if you want next time, you can write questions down. I can handle that. You can write questions down.
Well, we just want to get you to share your history. What is your message for young people?
They got to be respectful. That's the first thing. They got to be respectful. You know, especially to your mother. Most of them that got fathers at home, you know. And Donnie, they listen to me, man. I don't, you know, I'm sincere, but they listen. One night, Sam Cassell, somebody told me about a kid named Sam Cassell. I just want me to talk to them. And so about 4 months later, I saw him someplace, and I talked to him, you know. And he had a dad. I don't think the dad was in the house. But then Dante Bright, the same thing. You know. And I guess they can see that I care, you know. And, you know, and then Cleve Bristol was one of my idols. Man, you know. And I always respected him, you know. Just the whole thing. I've had a good life. I've had an excellent life, man.
Oh, you act like you're going somewhere. We got work for you to do. Hey, look, I gotta read you this history. Joe Parker, at 6'2", hails from Baltimore, Maryland. He played 3 years of varsity basketball at Carver Technical High School. He averaged 19.5 for the 3 years. In his junior and senior years, he was named Maryland Scholastic All-State Team. In 1957 and 1958, he led the Maryland Scholastic Association in scoring with 24.8 points average. In the same year, he was named to the Baltimore Sun Papers and the Baltimore News Post All-State team. Averaged 15.2 points per game as a freshman at Virginia State. Transferred to North Carolina College, which is today North Carolina Central, in his sophomore year, where he was the team's leading scorer and rebounder, averaging 19.3 points per game. In his junior year, he led the team with a 19.9 average and also led in his senior year with 20.5 points per game average. Twice named to the All-CIAA team, named to the NAIA All-American team senior year, scored over 40 points 3 times in his college career. The astronauts are proud to have this outstanding star who ranks 3rd behind the great Sam Jones of the world champion Boston Celtics and the all-time North Carolina college scorers and basketball greats. Joe is a complete basketball player and has a brilliant future in the game. Is that
We
you,
just
sir?
wasted. We just wasted 2 hours. That's it. We just wasted 2 hours, man. Because you got you. That was it, man. And at the time, the black schools couldn't play in the NCAA tournament, so they had something called the NAIA. That's where Coach McClinton. That's where he won 3 championships with Dick Barnett and all those guys. And I later met Dick Barnett. Later met him, not Dick Barnett, but John McClendon. And I've done it all, man. I've done it all. I did it my way, you know. And last but not, when you come over, I'm gonna show you the letters. I found the letter in the basement about the Globetrotters. Somebody wrote the Globetrotters about me the senior year. And I knew the guy who's in charge of the Washington Generals, the team that they play against. And the guy who recommended me, he said he never heard from him. So I went to other place. And then about 5 years later, he wrote the guy who recommended me a letter apologizing, so he never got the letter, you know. So, and that's basic. That's, you know. Yeah. But again, I wouldn't trade, man. I wouldn't trade for anything in the world. You know. I just wouldn't trade, and I love people, Donnie. I guess you know. I love people until you mess on me like the guy McQuaid's doing. And then Bob Wade told me, he said, man, don't worry about that. I said, man, you know, it bothered me. You know.
So would that be the first time you had a frown on your face? I ain't never seen it.
I never seen it. I meant to show Jimmy Hall the clipping when we played Morgan. And every time Charlie Moore and them would come to play Morgan, they try so hard to look good, to play well. And when I came up my senior year, I said, hey, I'm going to let it go, boy. 2 of my girlfriends were there. My mother was there. And like I said, I dropped 40 on them. And Lee Hall and Jimmy Hall, Lee Corns and Jimmy Hall beat us. They beat us, man, you know. But it's been good, man. It's been good. Now, if you need anything else.
Look, you went to Carver over there on Pressman Street?
The first class, I'm going to learn how to answer a question with yes or no. But that was the first year they opened the building up. And I was the first class. Back then, I think it was 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, or was it 10, 11, and 12th? I forgot what it was. But I was the first one. And the second year, they let us in the MSA. Dunbar, Carver, and Douglas.
Well, I need you to tell me something now. Slow down.
Okay, all right.
By the time you went to Carver, my understanding is they just started letting black people go to that part of West Baltimore.
No, when I went to Carver, that was all black over there, Easterwood Park. But they let the second year, my sophomore, my second year, they let the three schools into the MSA. And they've been in the MSA until Timmy's alma mater started a riot.
No, you missed my question, Mr. JoJo. My mother bought a house. My mother bought a house across from Easterwood in 1952. And it's my understanding that around that time, blacks were not the majority.
Well, I
but that
went
was
there.
5 years. That was about 5 years before you went there.
Yeah, and it had changed. Carver played their home football games in Easterwood Park. Easterwood Park.
Were the white people in the neighborhood still?
No, they had bamboo. They had gone. Yeah, they had all gone. And here's a little tidbit. I always wanted to buy a house with my parents, but off of $1,100 a month, take forever. But I met this guy named Dan Brothers that sold him shoes. And his son jumped off a 3-story building with a cape on. And he had been taking, what was the drug of choice back then?
Acid.
No, before acid.
Well, either PCP, sniffing glue. That was about
give
it.
Me one. No, it was one more. It was popular among the white kids. It was popular. He had a cape on, and Dan and his wife. So Dan had 4 houses next to Cross Street Market, which I didn't want to go there. $4,000 a piece. Now they about $500,000. He had one on Federal Street where I am now. He had 4 in Bolton Hill. See, down the scared man can't make any money. He had 4 in Bolton Hill. And he wanted to sell me one of those. But the 2 elderly ladies lived here. And Charlie Hurt lived down the corner. And Charlie Hurt told me about the ladies and stuff. So Dad said he would sell me this one for $20,085.
Well, Mr. JoJo, you acting like $1,100 wasn't good money. That wasn't good money back then. Black people get quiet when you talk about money.
Joe. I think he gone.
Okay. Well, we're gonna pick up on this. I want to hear about that $1,100. That's a lot of money, I thought.
Yeah, back in the 70s.
Taking it all.
That was back in the 70s.
He had 2 girlfriends, so he was probably tapped.
Yeah, that was back in the 70s, though, man.
Oh, here you go back in. He won't give up. You gotta love this guy, Mr. JoJo.
Yes.
Was $1,100 good money back then? Because that sounded like good money, and you was banking it all.
I was banking it all. You know, on the road, you don't have any expenses. You know, I don't eat that much. You know, and I just, the side hustle with those programs. That was the side hustle, man. At first, you know, I felt kind of funny, but I had passed my prime. And then, Donnie, I went to camp with the Bullets, and here's the story. You got to find somebody who goes back to, there's a guy named Bill from Cloverdale. I played in the greatest game ever at Cloverdale. I had just got home from college. I was fresh. And somebody said, man, y'all played against Gus Johnson, Cy Hugo Green, you know, and another pro. And I said, man, we didn't care. We had a guy named Bernard Wilson. The hill was packed. They bet thousands and thousands of dollars on the games, man. Game started. The ball was tapped to me. and I passed to Bernard Wilson. He did a drop step on Gus and almost dunked it. I knew Gus was good. The game ended with 5 minutes ago because it was raining. Gus had 48, and the Bullets coach was there. So they asked him, who did he like out there? He said, well, said, I was Joe then. I don't think I was Joe. He said, Joe Parker looked good, So Bussy Morton convinced me to go down to the Civic Center that Monday morning and talk to him. I put my shirt and tie on, Donnie, went out, didn't have a car then, I don't think, and was going to catch a bus. They had a newspaper stand. I put a nickel in it, and the headline said, Flick Leonard fired as coach for the Bullets. I had some friends at the Sun papers, and they sent me the story. He made an anti-Semitic remark at dinner. That's all it took. They let him go. And it was who who liked you, man, and your attitude and stuff, the whole thing.
Will Baltimore ever get another basketball team, another Baltimore Bullets?
Not. You got any kids? If you got I'm trying to see if you got any kids that's 5 or 6 years old, because it'll be a long time.
Kids.
It'll be a long time. I was with them all the time. They had two of the baddest players in the world, Earl and Gus, and they were drawing 3,000 people, 4,000 people. That wouldn't get it.
So let me tell you, the Orioles, there was a time I used to like the Orioles till they did Reggie Jackson wrong, and I ain't liked them ever since.
But what about Frank Robinson? They did him wrong.
But he came
come
after
on.
me.
No, Frank was before Reggie Jackson.
I didn't live through that. I lived through watching Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, well, I lived through Frank Robinson because the Orioles was poop before Frank got here.
They sure were. And he never got the credit that he deserved.
And they do all of the black athletes like that, man. They've always been like that.
Yeah. So when people ask me from other time, do I like the Orioles? I remember the Reggie Jackson situation. How you not gonna pay Reggie Jackson?
Yeah.
They ain't want to pay him. He went to New York, hit 3 home runs in 1 game.
And the rest is history.
Got daggone right. Mr. October.
You remember Charlie Scott?
No, sir.
Do you remember Charlie Scott? The first black player went to North Carolina.
That was in the 60s, Donnie. When Charlie Scott, what was that, about 65, something like that?
About that, yeah, just about that.
Yeah.
And he was messing with those light-skinned girls. I can't talk about it.
Yeah, I know you can't.
I can't. But my old lady, she's in Virginia, but she's out. But they met them light. So Dean Smith made him get married. So I'm up in Detroit with the Persuaders, and the first night we had a show 4 nights. The second night, only flies showed up, just flies. So they canceled us. Charlie Scott came by the hotel. I called him, and his lawyer, he put me on to his lawyer. His lawyer said he would handle it for me. And I called back to New York to the boss. He said, man, don't worry about it. He said, y'all pack up and come on back. So anyway, but Charlie Scott came in there, and then 20 minutes later, Reggie Jackson came in the room. I had never met Reggie. And then they called Lucius Allen. It was one more, man. They all talked about their divorces. Charles Scott said he gave his ex-wife 2 Lincoln Continentals, let her keep the apartment. But I'll never forget that. And I haven't seen Charlie since.
What's the lesson? What's the lesson for us people still learning out here?
What lesson are they learning?
Stop marrying the light-skinned people.
Hey,
look, y'all ain't dragging me into nothing, man. I got it. It's tough enough keeping myself out of trouble. I ain't falling for it. Usually I gotta watch the young people. Now we gotta watch y'all. Okay, all right. I ain't playing with y'all. Mr. Jojo, we got to get up out of here. We got to bring you back next time. Timmy, how we gonna do this again?
You just let me know. Just
Donnie,
let me know.
Won't you write some questions down so I can stay on track? My old lady be here. She'll be in town. So I can be on track, man, because
we will
I
do
be
that.
on track. I'm in left field. So she asked me, she called me, said, how you doing? I said, well, Timmy been over backwards and sideways trying to get me, but I just can't stay on topic. I just can't stay on topic. One last story.
I think that's beautiful, and I don't hear nobody complaining.
Yeah, her water line went up. Her water line went up $8,000 out there in the high rent district. So this was about 5 years ago. So what I did, I sent her a check for $1,000, you know, and the next, she got my statement back. I didn't see the check. 2 months, I didn't see the check. 3 months, I didn't see the check. So I ain't say nothing. I ain't say nothing, boy. So I called her finally. I said, baby, you get my check. She said, yeah, but I don't need it. So then about 2 years ago, we were at Walmart.
Kind of women no more, brother. I don't know what you got. You might want to hold on to what you got.
I got
giving back no refunds, no change,
no nothing. And
nothing.
So we go to Walmart. She used her credit card. So I came home, I came home and I didn't see her for about a week. So I sent her a check for $100, and she called me and said, I'm not a whore. That's exactly what she said.
I don't think she talking about this on air.
I said, what you mean, Helen? What you mean? She said, I'm not a whore. And that's all she ever said. I never saw that check. But if she's smart, though, she would kill me. Because everything, boy, is, the bank account, the checking account, it's hers. It's hers. Man, I don't have any family left. Yeah. But anyway, you didn't tell Donnie about the astronaut friend of mine.
Yeah, I did.
I was gonna freak him out. I was gonna call him if Donnie would have came. You cool too, Tim. I was gonna call him, and that's my man. I told him
about the autograph picture.
My man, sir.
Let me know when we go over there, and we'll make that happen.
All right, Timmy, I blew one thing.
Y'all done wore me out, and especially, and this is a really special treat for Baltimore today.
Well, right questions there. I apologize for going on, but when I'm comfortable, and Timmy caught me a couple of times, had a picture on the wall, and Timmy tried to tell me who it was. And I said to myself, how can he tell me who on my wall? And he was right.
So we even. So we even.
We even. All right, guys.
Okay. Good evening.
Thank you.
Donnie, I'll be better next time, Donnie. I really. Because my woman will probably be here. I'll have her come in town. And I can speak to the skip. All right, guys.
All right.
Good evening, everyone.
Later on.
Later.
Thanks, Timmy. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
For your patience. All right, babe.